I had promised to transfer schools with my childhood friend, the one who claimed she was being bullied. But the day before the paperwork was finalized, she suddenly changed her mind. Her friend laughed and said teasingly, "Wow, you're really something else, pretending to be bullied this whole time just to trick Joaquin into transferring schools with you." Someone else chimed in, "He's your childhood sweetheart, right? Aren't you worried about letting him go to a strange new school all by himself?" Lydia replied flatly, without the slightest hesitation, "It's just another school in the same city. How far could it be?" Then she added coldly, "I'm tired of him sticking to me all the time. This works out perfectly." That day, I stood outside the door for a long time. In the end, I quietly turned away. On the transfer application, I crossed out Third High School of City C and replaced it with the overseas school my parents had wanted me to attend all along. Everyone forgot one simple truth. Between Lydia and me, there had always been a distance as vast as the clouds and the mud. The moment I learned the truth, my heart trembled violently. For an entire month, Lydia had been beaten, framed, and humiliated over and over again. I did everything I could to protect her, but I couldn't always arrive in time. Finally, when I couldn't endure it anymore, I suggested that she transfer schools. That day, Lydia had just been drenched in ice water. Her delicate face was pale, pitiful, and trembling. She grabbed my hand helplessly and whispered, "Joaquin, I'm scared. I don't dare go to a strange place alone." Lydia and I had been childhood friends since kindergarten. For over 10 years, we went to and from school together every single day. And somewhere along the way, I had quietly fallen in love with her. So without thinking, I blurted out, "Don't be afraid. Wherever you go, I'll go with you." Only now did I realize everything had been an elaborate performance designed to get rid of me. I couldn't help wondering, did Lydia really hate me that much? Inside the private room, the voices continued. "Joaquin is seriously, hopelessly devoted to you." Someone asked, "Aren't you afraid he'll fall for someone else once he's at another school?" Lydia let out a mocking laugh, as if she had just heard the most ridiculous joke in the world. "Him," she said lazily. "He stopped an entire group fight for me. Even when he was beaten black and blue, he never backed down. You really think he'll suddenly stop liking me?" Someone muttered uncertainly, "But what if he does? Joaquin doesn't look like someone easy to mess with." Lydia's tone grew even more casual. "There are plenty of pretty girls at First High. Have you ever seen him look at anyone else?" Her voice carried unmistakable disdain. "All he ever does is follow me around. He's even clingier than a loyal puppy." The room erupted into sharp laughter, each sound landing on my face like a slap. I wanted to leave, but my feet felt rooted to the floor. I listened, and I hurt. Someone clicked their tongue in amusement. "This is the first time I've seen someone personally push away a guy who adores her. Respect." Another voice asked, "But if you don't like Joaquin following you around, why not just tell him directly? He doesn't seem like the type to pester anyone." Lydia made an irritated sound. "Joaquin is too overbearing. If I told him outright, it wouldn't be that easy to make him leave." Then her tone changed. "Besides, Oliver feels insecure whenever he sees Joaquin. He only feels better when I'm with him." She paused briefly, then said softly, "For Oliver's sake, I had to do it this way. Joaquin will just have to be wronged for a while." The room fell silent for a second, then realization dawned on everyone. By the timeline, Lydia had started pretending to be bullied just 1 week after Oliver transferred to First High. Someone laughed and said, "Damn, girl. You move fast. The new puppy-faced boy just arrived and you already have your eyes on him." But Oliver really is adorable, gentle, and delicate. Any woman would be drawn to him. "Unlike Joaquin," another voice added. "He's cold and distant all the time. He might be handsome, but that icy attitude ruins it." Their comments about me rose and fell like crashing waves, one after another. And Lydia, the girl I had secretly loved for years, didn't stop them. She didn't deny anything. Sometimes she even agreed. Standing outside the door, my heart sank into a dark abyss, empty, suffocating, and unbearably heavy. For a moment, I wanted to fling the door open. I wanted to demand answers. Ask her why she deceived me. Ask if she felt even a shred of guilt when I was beaten while protecting her. Ask if she had ever once thought about our 10 years of shared memories. But then my mother's words echoed in my ears. Don't do unnecessary things. People don't rot overnight. So I turned around and walked away from that room. The pain arrived quietly, like fine needles, delayed, yet piercingly deep. At first, I didn't think I would feel this heartbroken. Being betrayed by a friend was something people eventually learned to accept. But the one who crossed the line first was Lydia. The day we decided to transfer schools together, she dragged me to a bar to celebrate our so-called freedom. Under the dim, hazy lights, I looked at the girl I had secretly loved for years, and my thoughts drifted. So when she leaned in and kissed me, I didn't push her away. All the emotions I had buried for so long erupted in that instant, wild, overwhelming, and impossible to restrain. I asked softly, Lydia, what are we now? Lydia smiled indulgently and kissed my forehead again. Silly, she said. What else could we be? The private room exploded with cheers, warm, loud, and intoxicating, just like the emotions surging through my chest. I never imagined that only 2 days later, Lydia herself would shatter that illusion. I laughed, but the tears fell on their own, slipping down uncontrollably. So that vague, teasing answer she gave me back then was also part of the act to push me away faster for Oliver's sake, wasn't it? The wind chime in my bedroom swayed gently, its soft ringing drying my tears little by little. My shattered heart began to piece itself back together. Lydia Lynn was wrong about one thing. She might be the illegitimate daughter of the Lynn family, but I am the sole heir of the Chan family. We were never meant to be close, because we were never meant to belong together. The transfer form in my hand was soaked through with tears. The ink bled and smudged, looking as filthy as I felt. But that was fine. If one sheet was ruined, I could always replace it with a clean one. The Chan family never runs out of replacements. I printed a new application. When I reached the section marked Transfer Destination, I paused and called my mother. Mom, I said quietly, that school abroad you mentioned, which high school is it again? Yes, I continued after a moment. I'll go alone. The wind chime rang again, crisp and clear, as if it were celebrating with me. I closed my eyes. This time, the face that appeared before me wasn't Lydia's. It was another woman, someone who resembled Lydia slightly, yet was softer, gentler, and far more genuine. She smiled at me the same way she had 2 years ago, her voice calm and certain. Joaquin, one day you'll give up on Lydia and choose me. Back then, I had thought she was joking. Now, I whispered silently in my heart, Lydia, I really don't want you anymore. When I finished filling out the new form, I let out a long breath. For the first time, my heart felt completely calm. Then someone knocked on the door. I froze. This house had always belonged to me alone. The only person who knew the passcode was, I opened the door. As expected, it was Lydia. Her voice was as soft as ever. Joaquin, you haven't come to say goodbye to everyone. I was worried about you. I forced my tone to remain steady. My stomach doesn't feel well. I'll skip it. Just as I was about to end the conversation, something at the corner of my eye caught my attention. A thin, fragile figure standing beside Lydia. Oliver. The moment our eyes met, he flinched. Lydia watched his reaction closely, then immediately pulled him into her arms, as if shielding him. Joaquin, you scared Oliver, she said. There it was again. Oliver always put on that fragile act, making it seem as if I were some irredeemable villain who bullied him. But I hadn't done anything. My expression turned cold. I told you I don't like people coming to my house. Lydia frowned slightly, clearly displeased. Oliver isn't an outsider. And he only came because he's worried about you. Before I could protest, Oliver's eyes reddened. Joaquin.
I'm sorry.
I know you've always looked down on me, but I do shower every day. He looked utterly aggrieved as he added softly, I won't make your house dirty. At his words, Lydia knitted her brows and looked at me with disapproval. Joaquin, Oliver's just from a poor family, but he's not as terrible as you imagine. The way you're treating him really disappoints me. Oliver tugged gently at Lydia's sleeve, cautious, yet forgiving. Lydia, it's okay. Don't fight with Joaquin, he sniffed, then offered a small smile, wronged, but stubborn. After all, Joaquin said you two are childhood friends. How could I possibly compete with that? You must be joking, Lydia said immediately. You're one of a kind all by yourself. She cupped Oliver's face tenderly and comforted him in a soft voice. Then she turned to me. Her expression was icy, as if frozen solid. Oliver is upset. I'll take him away for now, she said gravely. Think about your behavior. And don't forget, the transfer form still needs to be stamped. I did reflect on my failure to see people clearly. Then I went back inside and changed the front door passcode. The tight knot of anger and hurt in my chest finally loosened, if only for a moment. The next day, I brought the new transfer form to school to have it stamped. As the bright red seal, marking my departure, pressed firmly onto the paper, my heart suddenly felt hollow. For a moment, I stood there in a daze. Then someone blocked my path. Lydia frowned slightly. Joaquin, did you change the password to your front door? After I sent Oliver home yesterday, I went straight to your place, but the door wouldn't open at all. I cut her off, my voice calm. Yes, I changed it. She looked displeased, as if nothing significant had happened, and asked with her usual false warmth, What's the new password? I can come take care of you. That won't be necessary, I replied evenly. I won't be living there after I transfer. Lydia's gaze dropped to the folded form in my hand. Her expression flickered, as if she had just remembered something. Oh, right. I forgot about that. Don't worry, Joaquin. I'll come by tomorrow to get mine stamped too. It had been a long time since we'd walked and talked like this. Ever since Oliver transferred to First High, moments like these had become fewer and farther between. I closed my eyes briefly, allowing myself to feel the dull ache of lingering attachment. Then I spoke, deliberately testing her reaction. Between us, what's there to worry about? Lydia remained silent for a long time. Then, suddenly, she said, Joaquin, actually, Before she could finish, Oliver appeared behind her, his arms full of notebooks. Lydia, you said you'd help me study. Why did you disappear? He handed her the notebooks, smiling playfully. I saw your tutoring plan already goes 2 months ahead, so I brought the study materials that match. He winked. You don't mind me peeking, do you? How could I? Lydia replied, forcing a smile as she cast a nervous glance at me. But when she saw that I didn't react at all, disappointment flashed across her face. So this was it. While you were pushing me away, you were already planning a future with someone else. A future that never once included me. I forced myself to stay composed, even as the bitterness inside me spread like strong wine, slow-burning and endless. I clenched my palm tightly, grounding myself. You two talk, I said. I'll head out first. Oliver turned as if he had just noticed me, pretending to be startled. Joaquin, are you upset because Lydia's been studying with me? But I come from a poor family. I don't have the resources you do. His voice broke again, pitiful as always. I didn't want to keep playing along with his performance. My voice turned cold. Move. Whatever faint trace of guilt Lydia might have had in her eyes vanished instantly. She grabbed my wrist, anger flaring. Joaquin, what kind of attitude is that? Without any warning, she yanked me toward Oliver and shouted, Apologize to him. Inside me, the last clean corner of my heart shattered into dust. This time, I didn't hesitate. I raised my hand and slapped Lydia hard across the face. Lydia, I said, my voice low, trembling with fury. The one who should apologize is you, but not to Oliver. To me. I began packing away everything Lydia had ever given me over the years. The tie, her gift for my 18th birthday. I had only worn it to school once. Not long after, I saw Oliver wearing the exact same tie around his neck. He had blushed shyly and said, Lydia said, whatever someone else has, I'll have too. The limited edition figurine. Only the box remained. Lydia had taken the figurine itself, saying she liked the scent of my cologne that lingered on it. But the very next day, I saw it sitting on Oliver's desk. Then there were the custom leather shoes from my coming-of-age ceremony. The indigo-scented diffuser. Everything I once believed was unique, something that belonged only to me, had already been handed to someone else. No, not even shared. Given away. Preferentially. I thought about how tender Lydia was with Oliver, her endless indulgence toward him. A cold, bitter smile curved at my lips. If that was how it was going to be, then these things had no reason to exist anymore. I booked a flight for the next day, planning to spend one last quiet night before leaving. But at 2 a.m, my phone rang, dragging me out of sleep. Half awake, I pressed accept. For a while, there was only silence. Then Lydia's voice came through. Joaquin, I'm sorry. In an instant, my mind cleared. If she was finally ready to tell the truth, her tone suddenly grew heavy. Oliver hurt himself. I can't just leave him alone. So, I'll have to delay the transfer for a while. The heart I had lifted so high crashed violently to the ground. Pathetic, ridiculous. I wanted to ask her, then what about all the pain I suffered because of your lies? But Lydia kept talking. Joaquin apologized to him. I thought I'd misheard. What did you say? Her voice hardened. You should really apologize to Oliver. Can you honestly say his self-harm has nothing to do with you? For a moment, I had no words. Because suddenly I understood, when Oliver was around, anything I said would always be wrong. Lydia's voice turned icy. Joaquin, you've really disappointed me. If you just apologize, I can pretend none of this ever happened. 2 months from now, I'll go to the new school with you. Are you really going to be this stubborn, throwing away all these years of feelings? I heard the threat buried beneath her words. But there was no bitterness left in me anymore. Only exhaustion. And disgust. I hung up cleanly, blocked her, deleted her number. For the first time, I was genuinely looking forward to tomorrow's flight. When I landed abroad, the unfamiliar scenery felt like a breath of fresh air. Someone reached for my suitcase. I looked up and met the gaze of the real daughter of the Lin family. Joaquin, she greeted with a small smile. Long time no see. I reached out my hand, returning her smile. Long time no see, Bianca. Before we could say anything more, my phone rang again. I glanced at the screen. It was one of Lydia's friends. Confused, I answered. Lydia's voice came through, faint but anxious. Joaquin, which class at 3rd High did you transfer into? Everyone I asked said they've never seen you. Before I could respond, Bianca's voice chimed in lightly. Joaquin, shall I take you to see your new school first? She looked innocent, as if she were simply being kind. On the other end of the line, Lydia's voice suddenly rose. Joaquin, you're with Bianca? Where are you right now? I held the phone a little farther from my ear, realizing for the first time how shrill Lydia's voice could sound. Where I am, I said coolly, has nothing to do with you. It was as if she didn't hear me at all. Her voice trembled with disbelief. You went to Bianca just to spite me? To make me angry? You'd even go find that kind of woman. Her words grew uglier with every sentence until I couldn't stand it anymore. Enough, I snapped. Taking a deep breath, I said firmly, Lydia, the only person who's truly disgraceful is you. That sentence, I finally returned to her. Don't call me again. Whatever we had, it ends here. I hung up, blocked her number, deleted it for good. The world fell silent. Sorry you had to hear that, I said to Bianca, my tone softening. But Bianca only smiled faintly. Then make it up to me with dinner. She winked playfully. Consider it my thank you gift. I exhaled and smiled back politely. Of course. The two Lin sisters, what a striking contrast they were. When Mr. Lin had his affair and the mistress gave birth to Lydia Lin, the original Mrs. Lin acted with decisive precision. She took more than half of the Lin family's fortune, divorced immediately, and left, bringing with her the brilliant young Bianca Lin. Afterward, Bianca changed her surname to her mother's, becoming Bianca Sun, and settled abroad. My mother had always admired the two of them. She used to say that after Mrs. Sun left, the Lin family declined rapidly. The so-called Lin heiress title that Lydia flaunted was nothing more than an empty shell. Whenever the topic came up, my mother would sigh. Our Joaquin is too soft-hearted. Of all people, he had to fall for Lydia. Back then, I had only felt pity for Lydia, thinking she had no choice in whether she was born to the wife or the mistress. I was grateful that my mother respected my decision. Only now did I understand, parents really do see farther than we do. The sea breeze brushed against my face, scattering my thoughts. I glanced at the road ahead and raised an eyebrow. This doesn't look like the way to a restaurant. Bianca laughed lightly. Under orders from Aunt Chan. Please forgive me, Mr. Joaquin Chan. I chuckled and turned my gaze toward the sunset glowing warmly over the avenue. Sure enough, the car soon stopped in front of a villa, quiet, elegant, and unmistakably expensive. The so-called new school transfer had mostly been for show. Bianca and I had both been raised as heirs since childhood. It didn't take long before invitations from the business world started arriving one after another. That evening, I wore the black suit my mother had personally chosen. With a champagne glass in hand, I mingled politely with the guests, until I saw Bianca. She wore a custom-made gown, elegant and understated. The only bold accent was a single violet bloom resting on her shoulder, glowing vividly under the soft lights. The people around us tactfully drifted away. I sighed helplessly. Looks like neither of us gets to complain. We're both just doing what's expected. That dinner, under the casual guidance of my mother and Mrs. Sun, somehow turned into what they proudly called our engagement banquet. We weren't children anymore, nor were we naive. Bianca and I exchanged knowing smiles and treated it like one of our mother's playful schemes. What we didn't realize was just how serious they were about binding our families together. When my mother gave me a limited edition wristwatch, Bianca soon received the matching women's version from Mrs. Sunday. When Bianca was gifted earrings, not long after, my mother handed me the men's counterpart while preparing me for negotiations. We had grown used to it, but this time was different. Bianca looked straight into my eyes and said slowly, clearly, "What if I told you this time I want it?" She stepped closer, her voice gentle and pure, like spring water gliding over smooth stones, leaving quiet ripples in my chest. Or rather, every time. Golden fireworks burst across the sky above the cruise ship. I met her bright, steady gaze, and for the first time in a very long while, my heart skipped a beat. And just like that, my story with Bianca began. Naturally. Inevitably. After the engagement banquet, my family arranged for me to intern at one of our companies back home. My mother was already planning far ahead. When the time comes, you two can manage the household affairs, she said confidently. Mrs. Sun and I will handle the business. My father sighed dramatically. Just make sure you keep an eye on your mother. Don't let Mrs. Sun steal her away. With all their teasing and expectations echoing in my ears, I couldn't help laughing as I boarded the plane home. Before I left, Bianca removed one of the small bells from her wind chime and placed it gently into my palm. She had always been reserved, her gestures graceful and restrained. But even she couldn't resist using that soft chime to tell me she would miss me. Months later, Class A of third year at First High had already become a thing of the past. When my friends back home sent me the graduation photo, one without me, I felt strangely detached, as if it belonged to another lifetime entirely. In the picture, Lydia and Oliver stood side by side. They actually looked rather well matched. I studied their smiling faces. There was no pain left in my heart. One of my friends sounded irritated when he messaged me. When you left, we all felt bad. But looking back, it was a good thing you did. You have no idea. Oliver's been acting like he owns the place, hiding behind Lydia's protection. After you left, he started spreading rumors about you. We tried clearing things up, but there was just too much. And Lydia, that useless girl, kept defending him blindly. I mean, strangers might not know better, but she? After 10 years of friendship, she still sided with him. I sighed and typed back. Maybe in her mind, I was never a good person to begin with. Then I frowned slightly. I remember Oliver never used to be this bold. My friend seized the opportunity to vent and sent me a flood of screenshots. See for yourself. They were all from Oliver's social media posts. First post. Luckily, because of you, my coming-of-age ceremony wasn't as pitiful as everyone else's. 2 photos were attached. In one, Lydia was kneeling in front of him, tying his leather shoes with tender concentration. In the other, a supposed class photo captured me in the corner, sweaty and exhausted. I remembered that day. I had been busy running the ceremony as part of the student council. Oliver must have deliberately waited for a moment when I looked disheveled. Second post. She told me to forgive her helplessness. Next time, she'll give me a new figurine. My girl, I never blame you for that arrogant, overbearing person. The photo showed a familiar limited edition figurine, missing the exclusive packaging that had once belonged to me. Third post. Her restraint is her greatest charm. My girl, after exams, please stop letting the indigo diffuser put you to sleep. The picture captured the corner of that same indigo-colored diffuser. I scrolled through the posts, disbelief growing with each one, until the last post made my finger freeze mid-swipe. Now, I belong entirely to you. The attached image, a blood-stained bedsheet. A new message popped up from my friend. He's been smearing you on social media for ages, making you look like the third wheel, like he and Lydia were a thing all along. Didn't expect you not to care at all, haha. I smiled faintly. It wasn't exactly a lie. Lydia had only wanted the double satisfaction of being adored by both of us. After graduation, he even drug her. That finally caught my attention. He went that far? Yeah, my friend replied angrily. It caused a huge scene. Now that he's got a legitimate claim, Oliver's been strutting around like he owns her. Still posting a bedsheet photo, that's seriously low. I bet Lydia regrets it now. I typed back calmly. Thanks for clearing my name. Don't worry, if anything like this happens again, I'll let my lawyer handle it. We chatted idly for a bit longer before my friend sent one last message. It's good you've really moved on. Lydia's not worth it. I stared at the screen for a moment, then replied simply, yeah. There was truly nothing left to feel. The girl I had once loved so deeply was now nothing more than a passing topic in casual conversation. Time really does heal everything. The company headquarters was in the same city, so I decided to drive home to pick up some files. My mother had bought me a small villa with a garden. So you'll live comfortably, she'd said. I unlocked the gate, but before I could step inside, something made me freeze. Someone was sitting in the hallway by the front door. She turned her head, and I was met with a pair of red, swollen eyes. My brows knitted together. Lydia? How did you get in here? Then I noticed her knees, bruised and scraped. You climbed over the gate to get in, I said sharply. What's wrong with you? She stared at me for a long time without speaking. Then she suddenly murmured, Joaquin, you've lost weight. I didn't understand what she was trying to do with that absurd greeting, so I turned to leave. But she lunged forward and wrapped her arms around me, so tightly it felt like she wanted to crush my bones. Fortunately, my training wasn't for show. I pried her off immediately and wiped my arm in disgust. Lydia, have some self-respect. She laughed bitterly. You're telling me to have self-respect? Joaquin, you and Bianca, don't tell me you didn't do everything already. What right do you have to lecture me? Her voice cracked, rising into a near scream. Do you even know how long I searched for you? I was going insane. I slapped her. Hard. Without hesitation. Watch your mouth. I looked at her, still trying to cling to me, and exhaled slowly. I went abroad, Lydia. Isn't that exactly what you wanted? You faked being bullied. You let me take the beatings and humiliation for you. What? The plan worked, and now you're not happy? The color drained completely from her face. Her lips trembled as she stared at me, speechless. Why you knew? Joaquin, I can explain. I shrugged. But I don't accept explanations. Then, with deliberate calm, I leaned closer. My gaze shifted to the doorway, where Oliver had just appeared. I lowered my voice, just enough for both of them to hear. You posted that bloody bedsheet photo yourself, I said softly. What makes you think you still have the face to show up here again? Lydia, you really are pathetic. I turned and walked inside, calling one of my nearby bodyguards to remove them both from the property. As I passed the window, a shout pierced the air outside. You useless piece of trash. You've embarrassed me completely. A sharp slap followed, loud even through the soundproof glass. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Oliver clutching his cheek, crying. I pulled the curtains closed. Then I sent Bianca my usual message. Busy right now. Miss you. The next time I saw Lydia was at a welcome dinner my friends had arranged for me. We were all adults now, and conversations in our circle had naturally shifted toward business partnerships and investments. The lights were soft, the wine pleasantly sweet, the atmosphere surprisingly comfortable. I ended up staying longer than planned. Then an uninvited guest walked in. The room fell oddly silent for a moment. One of my friends tugged lightly at my sleeve and whispered, Joaquin, no one invited her. I nodded. I know. My friend sighed in relief, then muttered with thinly veiled disdain, That pair's like a bad smell in our circle now. The family's gone downhill, and their behavior's even worse. Especially Oliver. He treats Lydia like some prized possession, paranoid about every man who looks at her. I tilted my head slightly. Sure enough, Oliver followed right behind Lydia. When he noticed my gaze, he flinched instinctively, then glared at me hard, a pathetic attempt at intimidation. Lydia, seemingly oblivious, walked straight over and sat down across from me. The others scrambled to smooth things over, but I simply stood and headed toward the restroom, needing some air. It didn't take long before someone followed me in. Oliver. He hadn't changed at all. The same soft puppy boy haircut, delicate makeup, that fake, innocent charm, and that spotless white shirt he probably thought screamed purity. A year had passed, yet he still seemed trapped in a high school mindset. What he didn't realize was that in this world, naivete was worthless. Only leverage mattered. Power, money, influence. And Oliver had none of it left. His emotional value had expired, replaced by the cold logic of utility. Discarded. Just like that. His eyes burned with jealousy and spite, wild enough that he looked ready to tear me apart. Joaquin, he hissed, you must feel so proud seeing Lydia still obsessed with you. I looked at him through the mirror, silent, unimpressed. If a few tears and melodrama counted as love, then his idea of devotion was truly twisted. Something flickered across his face. Then, disturbingly, he smirked. But you don't know, do you? Your little transfer back in high school, Lydia planned that. She wanted me to stop seeing you. So she set you up? She was never bullied at all. And you got beaten up trying to protect her. Ha ha ha. I didn't react. Because honestly, there was nothing left to react to. Nothing. Whether it was Lydia or Oliver, both of them already belonged to a life that would keep receding farther and farther behind me. And I was certain I would outgrow them, leave them so far behind they'd never catch up again. Oliver's face twisted in frustration. What's that look? Why aren't you angry? What are you so damn superior about? What gives you the right to act so high and mighty? Just because your family's rich? You're nothing but a spoiled waste who couldn't even keep a woman. His voice rose, trembling with fury, and he lifted his arm as if to strike me. But before his hand could land, someone grabbed his wrist midair and flung him aside. Bianca stepped in front of me, tall, composed, her expression as cold as her voice. For insulting and attempting to assault my fiancé, she said evenly, I've recorded everything. You can explain yourself at the police station. She turned slightly, her eyes sharp as glass. Whatever you have to say it there. I couldn't help it. A quiet laugh escaped me. She had clearly dressed with care for the evening, her outfit matching mine down to the smallest details. The cufflinks. The tones of black and silver. Childish. But endearingly so. The police arrived quickly, sirens echoing faintly outside the building. When I didn't come back for a while, my friends grew worried and went looking for me, just in time to see Oliver being shoved into the back of a police car. He fought wildly, screaming until his voice was completely hoarse. "Who do you think you are?" he roared. "My wife is Lydia, Lydia Lynn, the only daughter of the Lynn family. Let me go. I need to see my wife." The moment those words left his mouth, everyone exchanged meaningful looks. One by one, their gazes shifted toward Lydia. She stood there quietly, watching the man she had once pampered and fiercely defended being taken away. And she did nothing. No tears. No pleas. No protest at all. Only calm, detached silence, the perfect display of self-preservation. I looked at her one last time, and in that instant, the bright, youthful girl from my memories completely collapsed into ruin. By the time we finished giving our statements at the police station, it was already late. I took Bianca straight back to my place. The next morning, when I opened my eyes, breakfast was already neatly arranged on the table. Leaning against the doorframe, I watched her washing dishes with quiet concentration. "So domestic," I teased. She turned around, brushed a loose strand of hair behind her ear, and pouted playfully. "I don't even have an official title yet," she said. "I have to act a little domestic, don't I? Leave a good impression on my man." Then she leaned closer and tapped my nose lightly, half joking, half serious. "Otherwise, what if one day he gets mad and doesn't want me anymore?" I couldn't help but laugh. My mind drifted to how my friends had stared at her the night before, wide-eyed, whispering to each other, practically glowing with gossip. I picked up my phone and scrolled idly, until a headline stopped me cold. Then I burst out laughing. "Want an official title?" I said, turning the screen toward her. Well, here it comes. Two bold, sensational headlines blazed across the trending list. Chon Air's scandalous conduct, allegedly seduces a married woman. Heir of Chon Group exposed for keeping unknown woman overnight. They were perfectly aligned, deliberate and vicious. Whoever planted them wanted to destroy me completely. But Oliver had overlooked one crucial detail. Private villas always have surveillance cameras. Before the rumors could spread too far, a video surfaced online. It clearly showed the so-called Lynn heiress clinging to me, refusing to let go, while I pushed her away and left. Public opinion flipped instantly. So, he was the one being harassed? Of course, some skepticism remained. Okay, but what about the chaotic private life part? He's so young to be an executive at Chon. Who knows which powerful woman he's really staying with? Meanwhile, Bianca was furiously trying to verify and register an official social media account, her expressions so serious it made me laugh. "There's no rush," I said, amused, watching her struggle with security codes. She ignored me, leaned over, pressed a quick kiss to my forehead, and said softly, "You shouldn't have to be smeared by anyone's words." A notification chimed. Ding, you've been followed by Bianca. I glanced down. Verified account, official seal, and everything. Seconds later, her account posted its very first public statement. "Hello everyone. On behalf of the Sun Group, I'd like to thank our company's future boss for giving me shelter last night." Joaquin, the internet froze for a split second. Then it exploded. Bianca looked up at me, eyes wide, her face the picture of innocence. I sighed and leaned down to kiss her lips. The alliance between the Chon Group and the Sun Group progressed steadily. 3 years later, Bianca's son and I were married. The wedding was held in a quiet old European town, where colorful wind chimes hung from every window. When the wind passed through, they rang with soft, clear notes, like countless sincere blessings layered together. As the ceremony came to an end, someone handed me a gift. There was no name on the card, but the Lin family seal was unmistakable. After Bianca officially took control of the Sun Group, she launched a full-scale corporate assault on the Lin family. If the Lins had already been a collapsing mansion after Madame Sun's departure, then under Bianca's hands, what remained was nothing but rubble and dust. The family that betrayed her mother, Bianca would never forgive them. And I had no hesitation in helping her. In fact, I was even more ruthless. By now, The Lynn name no longer carried any weight in our circles. And those who had once betrayed me, I would not forgive either. That was why receiving Lydia's congratulatory gift genuinely surprised me. Inside the box lay an exquisite purple diamond ring, radiant, breathtaking, and hauntingly familiar. A forgotten memory from when I was 18 suddenly surfaced. It was after a mock exam. I had stayed behind to go over Lydia's mistakes with her. Back then, my whole world revolved around her. I was explaining problems, but in my mind, I was already dreaming of a future that included her. She wasn't paying much attention either. Her gaze lingered on me, soft, sincere, untouched by pretense. "Joaquin," she had asked quietly, "what kind of ring do you like?" The question was far too early for our age. We both flushed bright red. After a moment, I answered in a low voice, "Purple. I've always liked purple." Lydia smiled faintly. "I'll remember that." Cicadas sang in the background, that lazy summer hum filling the air. For a fleeting second, I thought about eternity. Bianca's voice pulled me back to the present. "Her company's already in ruins, and she still sent a purple diamond," she said coolly. She must have emptied the last of her savings. It was rare for Bianca to sound so sharp. I chuckled, watching her expression cloud with quiet possessiveness. "Donate it," I said lightly, slipping the ring into her hand. Because the truth was, the purple wind chime had come to me long before the ring ever did. Back when Bianca was 16, still awkward, still untouched by the business world, she had returned home briefly to help her mother handle some affairs. By chance, she visited the Lynn estate. By chance, she saw the boy who lived next door. By chance, she overheard his mother say fondly, "Our Joaquin loves the color purple, doesn't he?" By chance, Bianca smiled and thought, "That's perfect. Purple is elegant. It's my favorite color too." On a whim, she stayed 2 extra days. She even ordered a purple wind chime from overseas. In those 2 days, she witnessed everything. How the Lynn family's illegitimate daughter deliberately hurt herself to gain sympathy. How the same boy, kind and naive, grew increasingly protective of her. And in Bianca's heart, a small, fierce seed called envy quietly took root. On the day she left, she impulsively knocked on the boy's door and handed him the wind chime. Unable to stop herself, she said something rude. 16-year-old Joaquin just stood there. He wasn't angry. He only said softly, "Have a safe journey." Later, life became calm and clear. And in this lifetime, there were no regrets.